What is up, everybody? It's 3WK, and today I wanted to talk about the brand new Can-Am Canyon that should be hitting the streets any day now. I feel like I have a decent perspective on this because obviously I have been a Can-Am rider for almost 5 years now, a Can-Am ambassador for a few of those, but also I've ridden other things. I ride motorcycles, 2 wheels, 3 wheels. I go off-roading and camping in currently my Ford Raptor, but I've done it in my Ford Ranger and Bronco and build out some different vehicles over the years as well. So I feel like I kind of have some hobby interests that align with the Can-Am Canyon. So when it came out, I was really interested in what this was going to mean for 3-wheel vehicles and off-roading and how this changes the market. I've definitely in the past been researching the adventure bikes that I'm sure the Can-Am Canyon takes inspiration from. So one thing I noticed, I was kind of watching the community, listening to what people had to say about the Can-Am Canyon, and I think it's safe to say that people's opinions are pretty mixed on whether or not the Can-Am Canyon is immediate purchase, or if this is something that you kind of wait and watch and see what the capabilities are. The thing that I noticed immediately about the Can-Am Canyon is the marketing is definitely pitched toward and geared toward that true adventure bike segment of the market. So outside of 3-wheel, that is like the BMW GS of the world, or the Yamaha, I think Tenere, or there are a lot of different motorcycles that are kind of one step beyond the dual sport world and more like a dual sport touring machine. So something that is meant to go off-road, but also go off-road for long stretches and be fairly comfortable while doing it. A lot of the more straight up rugged dual sport motorcycles from Honda or Yamaha, or what is it, KLX, those are very off-road focused, but not necessarily comfort and storage and all of that. That's not a part of the overall package. Some people outfit them that way, but that's not kind of their design from the factory. However, the adventure bike segment, those BMW GSs, those I want to say Honda has an offering in the space as well, but they are all about that off-road performance, pretty decent off-road performance, but also the storage, the ability to do a long haul, the comfort. And so that's where Can-Am is kind of positioning themselves in the 3-wheel market with an adventure vehicle. The immediate concern that I'm sure most people have is that they are modifying the existing Can-Am Spyder platform. So you're still going belt driven with the 1330cc motor, which is a great motor, but the belt driven portion of that really does give you some pause on whether or not this is going to be rugged enough to conquer true off-road trails, even fire service roads and stuff like that. The question I have, even though they have beefed it up a little bit, they say that the belt-driven kind of housing is now a sealed housing to protect from dirt and debris. But how does that really stack up off-road? In the promotional material, I'll be honest, I didn't really see anything that a Spyder couldn't do today, or a Riker Rally couldn't do today. I mean, going up a very light gravel path to do some fishing or something like that isn't any way indicative of an adventure vehicle. I mean, if you actually watch what a lot of people do with an adventure vehicle, they go off-roading creek streams, mud and ruts. They're on off-camber terrain. How does a 3-wheel vehicle handle that? Even though, yes, we can upfit it with saddlebags and make it look more rugged and utilitarian, can it actually perform in the real world in the way that people are expecting? I think that's the big question, and I really want to see the Can-Am Canyon in the hands of people who are going to abuse it and really use it. There was a segment done recently about three-wheel vehicles off-road. I'll have to put up a picture of that YouTube video. But essentially, they took a Can-Am Ryker and they took the Yamaha. I forget the name of that. The Yamaha three-wheeler the Yamaha Nikon that they had a few years back, and they took them and put them out in kind of like sandy dune type conditions and saw what they were capable of. And the Ryker performed very well. It did kind of exactly what you would expect. And with that shaft-driven setup, I think you're going to be a little bit less prone to failure in that way. Now, the Can-Am Canyon, obviously, Can-Am is not a novice to the off-road world, right? So, even just the Can-Am brand itself is segmented into two arms, Can-Am on-road and Can-Am off-road. So you would think that they're taking their knowledge from the off-road space and able to integrate that efficiently into this new three-wheel machine. The problem I see is just that we're not seeing it in its full kind of marketed use case. So, when I think adventure, I don't think very light fire service road that has no ruts, nothing. I want to see a Can-Am Canyon tested. I want to see it pushed into situations where it may be challenged and possibly, people need to really think of their approach and how they're going to attack an obstacle or of course this isn't going to be a rock crawler, but every trail that I've been on that has been used has some places where you're going to need to kind of be a little bit more selective on how you traverse it. So how does the Can-Am Canyon handle in those situations? I think that's going to be the real question for a lot of people outside of the price tag and all of that, because I do think that the adventure vehicle segment of the market is not as worried about the price tag as maybe some of the YouTube and Instagram community seem to be about the Can-Am Canyon. I don't really think that this was supposed to be for every single person. I think it's a niche market that they know that they're targeting, of people who really want to get out and explore and see the world a different way and want to keep three-wheeling kind of at the focus of that. So previously, as you graduate, so let's say you buy a Can-Am Ryker with the aspirations of becoming a kind of skilled motorcyclist. Eventually, most people, kind of the path is that you would either really modify Can-Am, tune it, Can-Am Ryker, tune it, and add, modifications, and you kind of stick with that platform. A lot of people will end up graduating to the Spyder line for the additional power and the additional comfort for longer touring. There was never a graduation path for adventure riding. If you wanted to do adventure riding, you basically would have to say, okay, I'm moving on from three-wheel motorcycling, or I will do this in addition to three-wheel motorcycling, and I'll get one of those like a BMW GS. So it's interesting. I think Can-Am is smart to kind of attack this part in the market. I'm not sure what the metrics are for kind of where the cross-section of Can-Am, Spyder, and Ryker owners who want to move into this space. And I'm not sure about the opposite as well, of adventure riders who are looking for kind of that three-wheel transition. But the big challenge that Can-Am has is that you have to prove that the Can-Am Canyon is capable enough to do the things that people are asking of it. An adventure vehicle isn't something that you take lightly. I'm on a Can-Am Spyder F3S, it's the sporty model, but no one expects Can-Am to back up that claim by showing you that this can run a racetrack. Sporty is just something we want to feel around town and kind of in ourselves when we're riding, whereas adventure is very quantifiable. It is very easy to say, hey, this didn't get me from point A to point B, off-road, off the grid, and this did. It's very easy to say, hey, I wasn't able to make it past this obstacle. I wasn't able, to do the things I wanted to do because this vehicle wasn't able to handle the rigors of off-road intensity. That is something that we are going to have to see from Can-Am with the Canyon. I hope they give it to some folks who are really going to push its limits and let us really see what this thing is completely made of. As for now, the marketing and all that promotional stuff looks great. It's exciting to watch, but I think there are a lot of question marks for the adventure bike segment of the world who actually wants to get their hands on one of these and see, is this something that could viably take you anywhere, or is this marketing hype and promo and all that good stuff? Anyway, guys, I've been Three Wheel Khalil. I'd love to hear your comments below on what you think about the Can-Am Canyon. Were you looking for an adventure bike? Do you ride two wheels and three wheels? Kind of what is your thought on this whole new 2025 lineup? I know this is kind of the main crux of their announcements as far as on-road goes, but hey, I'd love to hear your comments below. Anyway, remember, life's more fun on three wheels. Peace.